From 77 all the way to 2007, it was all UN. Deputy legal advisor, 6.5 years in Geneva. Then the legal office in New York kept on saying, please come, we want to transfer you to New York. Come and work here in the legal office. Anyway, I went there. 8 years of that, the UN sent me to Amsterdam for a 2-year secondment.
What were the 3 major things on your mind when joining the United Nations?
When I got to the UN, I had 3 things in mind. I said, your career, divide it into 3 compartments. First, do your legal work, because that's your background. And then get into the political side, second one. And then the third box, get on the executive side. For some reason, things turned out exactly that way. I did the legal work, Deputy Legal Advisor, UNCTAD, the Office of Legal Affairs of the UN, handling lots of things there. Legal advisor on the floor of the General Assembly, Security Council, UNDP laws. They would send me out to go negotiate UN agreements with member states. I did all that, and then I finally said, well, now get onto the political side. And that was what took me to peacekeeping. And I linked up with Kofi Annan there. When I came from Amsterdam, there was an English man who was heading the political department. He asked me to come and be in his cabinet. And Kofi Annan also asked me to be in his cabinet. I said to them, give me 2 days, let me think about it. And then I finally decided that I'll go with Kofi Annan in the new Department of Peacekeeping Operations. So we came in there. That was 93. And I worked very closely with him in his cabinet and at the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. Then at the end of 96, he was elected Secretary General of the UN. There were about 3 of us who were very close to him, and so he went to the office of the Secretary General with the 3 of us next to him. So for the next 10 years as Secretary General, worked closely with him. After that, the thing continued with him. He didn't let me go. I worked with him on the Kenya conflict, the post-electoral conflict in Kenya for 3-4 years. And we got into getting them a new constitution. They had their own Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That was my first experience with that one. But before that, the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission under the chairman, Desmond Tutu, Archbishop, we had them experience with that, travel with the Secretary General to that. But anyway, that all this went on with Annan, and then when he became the special envoy of the Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, on Syria, he again called me back and said, Lamin, pack your things and then come. If you thought you were going to have easy time, he was teasing me, you're not going to get easy time. Come around, you're going to be my chief of staff. We go to Geneva and then take care of the Syria dossier. We went there. Things were going on well. That's one big thing that advantage that he had, and that was the member states, they really like him. They trust him. Syria was not getting anywhere in the Security Council. As soon as he came in, he and I, before we went to Geneva to establish our office there, we had 2 days of a briefing of the Security Council, and you could see how eager they were all to get them involved in the Syria thing. We went ahead and then had a very good meeting. June 30th, 2012, we had a whole day meeting to get what was called the agreed communique on, it's a roadmap that we had worked on for Syria. But because the meeting was in Geneva, the 5 permanent members of the Security Council were there, and then 4 other countries joined them. That was not a Security Council proper. So the agreed communique that we finalized in Geneva had to go to New York, to the Security Council, and then they would process some of that. When they got to New York, they left Annan in Geneva. That's when the quarrels then started between the powers again. They were finger-pointing, name-calling, you name it. And it wasn't when that thing almost collapsed, Annan thought that, there was no need for him to stay around. So he stayed, he resigned at the end of the first 6 months of the dossier.
After working with Kofi Annan on Syria collapse, what next?
I stayed 2 months later, just winding up the office and transferring things to Lakhdar Brahimi, former foreign minister of Algeria, who succeeded Annan as the special envoy for that. We continued working on ad hoc things here and there until the very unfortunate date in 2018 when Annan passed away. And then I went off to do things on my own. Then the Gambia got in touch with me and said, we would want you to come and help us with our own Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, TRRC. Had meetings with the officials, asked them questions about the mandate of the TRRC, the structure, as well as the financing. So after hearing from them and wanting to come and now after 30, get into 40 years with the United Nations, it's about time to come and help my country. So I said to them, fine, I will come and then help you. And that was what brought me here, 2.5 years, 3 years of TRRC work, and fantastic support that we had from the citizens.
After almost 2.5 years of TRRC public hearing, take a lesson of the final remarks by the chairman, Dr. Lamin Jalaman Sisi.
On 7 January 2019, and they say 872 days ago today, we Gambians, through the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, began a unique process of holding live public hearings of the testimonies of the witnesses, as well as those of self-confessed perpetrators of human rights violations and abuses that occurred in the Gambia during the 22-year military dictatorship of Yahya Jammeh. The principal purpose of the commission was very simple: to establish the truth of what happened during the 22-year reign. The National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia enacted a law, TRRC Act 2017, that established the TRRC. The main objectives of the commission are, inter alia, to create an impartial historical record of violations and abuses of human rights from July 1994 to January 2017, in order to, 1, promote healing and reconciliation, 2, respond to the needs of the victims, 3, address impunity, and 4, prevent a repeat of the violations and abuses suffered by making recommendations for the establishment of appropriate preventive mechanisms, including institutional and legal reforms. The objectives also refer to that the Commission should establish and make known the fate or whereabouts of disappeared victims, to provide victims an opportunity to relate their own accounts of the violations and abuses suffered, and to grant reparations to victims in appropriate cases. When the Commission began its work, it decided that its public hearings will be transparent and broadcast live for all to see and hear the truth in real time. There's nothing better than telling the truth in the open. During the 872 days, the Gambia, and indeed the world, heard them from 392 witnesses, the majority of whom were victims of atrocities meted out to innocent civilians by the state, its agents, or individuals sponsored by both. The witnesses appearing before the Commission also included self-confessed perpetrators, as I mentioned earlier. The testimonies heard during these 872 days of public hearings brought pain and bewilderment to the population. They could not believe that the atrocities they were hearing from witnesses could occur in their country. A land of peaceful coexistence, a society imbued with tolerance of the highest order. They could not believe that innocent and ordinary citizens and other nationals found in the territorial jurisdiction of the Gambia, many murdered in cold blood, would be victims of the atrocities that were narrated. The commission of these atrocities by Jammeh and his cohorts achieved the desired effect of instilling fear among the Gambian population. It also gave them, as Jammeh and his cohorts, time and the space to pillage the resources of the country. Among the kinds of atrocities and other human rights violations detailed by witnesses during the public hearings are the following: arbitrary arrests, unlawful detention, unlawful killings, torture, enforced disappearances, sexual and gender-based violence, inhuman and degrading treatment, witch hunting, fake HIV/AIDS treatment, and general and widespread abuse of public office. The phenomenon of leaders of military coups civilianizing themselves was rampant in the sub-region of West Africa. These leaders rigged and held fast elections to perpetuate their own rule. The Gambia became a collective victim of this phenomenon. Witnesses have testified before the Commission that structures that underpin good governance, i.e., respect for the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary, were virtually non-existent during the 22-year Jammeh rule. Yes, Jammeh is gone. The killings by the state agents have stopped. Torture is no longer sanctioned by the state. Junglers have dispersed, some in foreign lands, while others stayed to confess their misdeeds. The folly of ruling the Gambia for 1 billion years abruptly and ignominiously ended in 22 years. Hitler had declared that the Reich was going to be around for 1,000 years. It lasted only 12. The crocodiles in Canning Lai lay submerged in a dirty pond, while the peacocks in Jammeh's palatial grounds cry out ceaselessly and purportedly for their departed master. The chaos we recently saw at these grounds in Kanilai must not be the chaos in our country in the wake of the demise of the Jammeh regime. Our collective effort to build a new and a better Gambia must not, and I earnestly believe will not, be squandered. The foundation stone for a stronger Gambia, the draft constitution, seems however, for the moment, to be stuck in a limbo. We must confront our recent difficult history in order to establish a new governance and sustainable structure to move the country forward, to take its rightful place among developed societies. As we close this important chapter, of the Commission's work, i.e. the public hearings, I take this opportunity on behalf of the Commissioners, the legal team, and all staff of the TRRC to express our most sincere gratitude to all Gambians and members of the international community, especially the UN Peace Building Support Office, UNDP Gambia, the OHCHR, the ICTJ, the Institute for Integrated Transitions and International IDEA, for their unflinching support over the past 3 years. This commission could not have achieved the kind of success it did without the support and the encouragement we got from everyone and the admirable cooperation of the victims' families, the various victims' organizations, and some of the perpetrators who volunteered invaluable evidence to the Commission. We must say a special thank you to the management and the staff of QTV, our media partner throughout this process, who have done a phenomenal job of executing their part of our contract of recording and disseminating the public hearings and other activities of the TRRC. Our gratitude is also extended to our state broadcaster, GRTS, whose staff have been with us from the very beginning. And we have also done, who have also done a phenomenal job of educating the Gambian public on what transpired here in this hall and other areas of the TRRC's work. We say thank you to iAfrica TV, Paradise TV, Kerfatu, Justice Info, and all the Gambian and international media who, through their various media entities, have contributed to the work of this commission. Finally, I cannot end this statement without thanking our own commissioners and staff, including our indefatigable interpreters and the sign language experts for the wonderful job they have done. We recognize the invaluable contributions of the various units of the Secretariat and of our team of dedicated medics from the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services to the Gambia Police Force, and especially the team of officers assigned to guard our premises and staff. Thank you for keeping us all safe. Indeed, it is impossible to say thank you to everyone who has made a significant contribution to the success of this process. But whether we mention your name or not, please note that we are eternally grateful for the services rendered to the TRRC. Thank you all, and goodbye from all of us. we will see again, albeit in a different format, when we present our final report containing our findings and recommendations to the President in just over a month. Thank you all very much.
Of the Gambia. Everywhere, the support was there, very clear. The government never interfered with our work and worked very closely with Attorney General, the two who were there, Abubakar Batambedu and Dawda Jallo. It was all great. The commissioners, fantastic team, and then the support staff, the secretariat, and the executive secretary were just absolutely great.
Finally, presentation of the report to His Excellency President Adama Barrow. This has been a legacy of a man whose sojourn throughout his life looks back only to see how far he has gone in achieving his goal.